selling with authenticity.
It's building that relationship.
About the value.
Because you want to make that impact.
It can make you happier.
Elevate others around
Welcome
us.
to the Selling from the Heart podcast, your home for authentic, effective, and socially integrated sales strategies to help you master the art of selling. Join your co-hosts Larry Levine and Daryl Amy, along with some of the world's best sales thought leaders and practitioners, as we explore ways to help you grow your sales.
Hello and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host Daryl Amy here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Hey, Daryl, the heat is on. Summer is here. We're halfway through the year, and we're gonna have a blast with this podcast today. But we're gonna throw the heat on the funnel in this podcast episode.
The heat is on. We're recording this. It's almost July 1st, Canada Day for my friends up north. July 4th for my friends here in the States. And for all of us halfway through, you've made it halfway through 2021. First of all, congratulations. Second of all, where'd the time go? But hey, we're getting it done in 2021. And this is an exciting time. And by the way, if you are new to the Selling from the Heart podcast, welcome. You've joined a growing community of sales professionals that are dedicated to being genuine, being authentic, adding real value. We call it Selling from the Heart. Larry, it is hard to believe that we're halfway through the year. It's been an amazing run so far this year.
Who knows? I don't know what it is. The older we get, it seems like, Daryl, time just flies. I have no clue. I'm sitting here going, I remember doing the Authentic Selling Challenge in January, and here we are. It's the end of June.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And it's been quite a year. And all through this year, we've been introducing you to our good friends at BombBomb. BombBomb's video platform is allowing us to rehumanize business. I just want to say a huge thank you to our friends at BombBomb for making this podcast possible. And as we begin, we've got a quick word of encouragement from our friends at BombBomb.
Selling from the Heart is all about getting back to the basics of selling. Relationships. You know, you hear these words, know, like, and trust, so often that it's easy to just pass them off. But the truth is these words are deeply rooted in humanity and in the way our prospects and clients make decisions. But it's hard to build trust and likability when your communication is left to plain text-based emails and messages that are not only lacking your humanity, but they are lacking your single best sales asset, which is you. So what if you could put you and your humanity back at the center of your communication? Well, that's exactly what we do with BombBomb. Simple video messages from your computer or smartphone to help you build relationships faster, communicate with clarity and empathy, and get you face-to-face with your prospects and clients more often in the places you're already communicating with them. Email, text messages, your CRM, Slack, and even LinkedIn. All of this is available to you to try free for 14 days. Simply go to bombbomb.com/heart, sign up for a free trial, and let us guide you to success with video and help you get back to selling from the heart.
Absolutely love it. Rehumanize your communications. Check it out at bombbomb.com/heart. Larry, one of the highlights of 2021 up to this point, as we're reflecting back over this year, I would say a highlight was the 2021, the first Client Appreciation Challenge. And the highlight of the Client Appreciation Challenge was being able to kick off that event with none other than the master of selling himself, Tom Hopkins.
I still remember it was either when he was on the challenge, Daryl, or it was right before, because he'd come on the podcast prior. And the moment was when you held up How to Master the Art of Selling, and it was pretty weathered. And the smile on Tom Hopkins' face was just priceless.
It was. I mean, many of you know the first day I showed up to my sales job in 1993, I had How to Master the Art of Selling sitting on my desk, and that thing rode around in my car. It was dog-eared. It had coffee. It had faded highlighter. The pages were turning yellow on that book, but it was such a playbook for me. And now, this many years later, I just think it's so cool that not only is Tom still delivering the message, still equipping salespeople, but many of our friends are beginning to get introduced, some for the first time, to Tom Hopkins. And it's been amazing. It's really been cool that to just get to know him and to have Tom be a friend of Selling from the Heart is just incredible.
It just goes to show you, Daryl, that the old saying, whatever's old is forever new, is the tools and technology are continually to change to, help salespeople do their job better. But Tom's message, this is my opinion, is going to forever stand the test of time. It's so foundational in nature. Some may call it basic, but that's okay. It's time that salespeople get back to the basics. And I think long after Tom Hopkins is gone from this earth, people will always be reading Tom Hopkins books.
No doubt about that. It's just priceless. And when we told Tom that we were doing a client appreciation challenge, he said, I'm in. I want to be in. And what was so cool is he got excited and he said, you know what? I'd love to come and share with everybody the ways that I showed appreciation to my clients back in his legendary days of real estate. That year when he closed a house every day for a year. Back in those days when he was driving an incredibly successful sales career in real estate, appreciation and saying thank you, gratitude was such a huge part of what Tom did and his success.
Yeah, I remember my most favorite story out of that whole appreciation challenge with Tom was he would customize doormats. Do you remember that, Daryl? Yeah. He would customize doormats for every house that he sold. So they'd get the keys and a doormat.
just brilliant. So here's what we wanted to do. Now that we're here approaching this holiday weekend, we thought we'd go back in the archives and just pull excerpts from this conversation with Tom Hopkins at the Client Appreciation Challenge. And by the way, if you want to hear all of the conversations from the Client Appreciation Challenge, whether you attended or whether you're just now hearing about it, just go to www.clientappreciationchallenge.com. You can sign up and get access to all of the recordings, including Tom's. But today, what we want to do is cue up this recording of Tom talking with us about how he showed appreciation to his clients. It's priceless. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Hopkins.
For a treat. We are in for a treat with the one and only Tom Hopkins. Oh, wow.
We are. So how do we set this up? So Tom needs literally no introduction. But my Tom Hopkins story was on November 3rd, 1993. I started my sales career. I came to the office. I had my starch shirt, my tie, my suit. I sat down at the desk, and on the desk was a binder of everything I needed to learn. And on top of that binder was How to Master the Art of Selling. And that book and all the tapes that I listened to while I drove around, I don't think I would have made it through the first few years of sales if it weren't for that. So it's with a deep heart of gratitude that I want everyone to join me in a crazy, wild welcome to our friend, the one and only Tom Hopkins. What's going on, Tom?
Hey, Tom, what's happening?
Well, just everything is wonderful. The old unbelievable is always going to be true. So I'm pumped to be with you guys as well, especially because what your subject was so important in my life, and I'll tell you more about that because it was funny. Back in my 8 years of real estate, the people in the office used to almost tease me, and they almost said I was a nut on keeping in touch and appreciation of my clients, and they almost called me a keep in touch follow-up fanatic. and those words are important because too many people in the field of sales and marketing don't keep close enough to their clients. And today is more important than ever. The consumer has more access to education and knowledge than they've ever had before. So if you're going to keep a client base loyal to you, you have to do extra things and extra follow-up for them. And, I heard Daryl talk about thank you notes, and I really believe the handwritten thank you note is so special today because with all the electronic transactions available, people aren't doing those personal little things. And I know if I were in the field of sales of anything today, I would definitely go and get my thank you notes, and I would start really trying my best to handwrite and do that what no one else is doing. And that's really, I think, one of the keys to success in life. If you watch the rest of your competitors and then find ways of doing more and giving more benefit and gratitude to the people that believe in you and your product, they're going to be loyal to you. They'll give you referrals. They'll help you build a financially sound business. So the subject you're teaching this week, and my gosh, a week of this, the folks tremendous amount of education, fun, and of course, I like the lightness of the way you present what we're doing. And so I'm pumped to be here and to talk about this wonderful thing because I was a follow-up nut and I still am today. People come to my seminars and they not only get some gifts, but they're given a very follow-up manual that follows everything I'm teaching. So they don't have to worry about taking notes because that was always a challenge. Like a speaker gets up and starts talking, they're excited, they're enthused, and they say some great things, and the people are trying to make notes. So I found over the years, if right in the beginning, the person who promotes or introduces me says, don't worry if you miss a note or two, it's wonderful if you take notes, but at the end of Tom's talk, you'll be passed out a page that covers the highlights of what you're going to hear in his presentation. So that was a great thing for us. And the audiences, of course, have always loved it. But I just really believe this keeping in touch and following up. And I'll share with you guys some of the things I did back when I was in real estate, little things like, I was like every realtor. I'd have open houses on a Saturday or Sunday. And I'm sitting there with a sign out in front, hoping someone stops. Well, when people would come in, especially in the summer, it's hot, it's 100 degrees out. And I of course, knew that, they were going to leave after my open house once they looked at the property I was showing. And they'd probably go and drive to another open house, which again, they might hit something where I didn't close the transaction and they get closed with another property. So I always had in the refrigerator, the freezer, at all my open houses, I would have 2 quarts of vanilla ice cream. And I would, walk around, show the property, and they'd say, well, thank you. We'll get back to you if we're interested. And they're leaving. I said, it's so hot today. I have a little gift for you for coming by. And I'd go to the fridge and pull out the ice cream and I'd hand it to them and say, here's something to take home and enjoy. Well, if it's 100 degrees out, where are you going in your car when you've got a half gallon of ice cream? Well, this is what they many of them say, we ought to probably get home with this ice cream. So I got them off the street and that little appreciation. I got them off the street and no one was going to sell them another property.
Oh, that is so good. Hey, Tom, I remember last month when you'd come on the podcast, one of my favorite sayings is what's forever old is forever new. And I think the way that you shared your thank you and you shared your gratitude, they stand the test of time. And if we look at what's happened, over the course of time, over the last 14, 15 months, I believe this is the single best time to double down on the age-old thank you and appreciation and show your clients how grateful you are for them. Because there's one thing I do know, your clients have choices. And we have to bring them up to the forefront every single day because of those choices.
And you have to be creative. For example, one of the things I did especially after 3 or 4 years in real estate, I was getting so darn busy that it was very hard to keep in touch. So what I started doing, and I'm going to share this as an idea for the folks that are joining us right now or for this week. I used to wait till around 9 or 10 o'clock at night, which was after any business would be open. Then I had all my clients, I always had it in categorized. And I had all the clients that worked in a shop or a business or went to a company, knowing they wouldn't be there at 9 or 10 at night. And that's when I'd call their company and I'd go to their phone and I'd say, "Hi, Jim, this is Tom Hopkins. It's 10 o'clock at night. I know you're not there. Your company's closed. But I wanted to welcome you this morning when you get this message to have a great day. And thank you for being a valued client. You truly are appreciated. All the best." And it was amazing how I'd get people say, "You know, it was so nice to come in on a Monday morning at 7:30, 8, and you had called Sunday night at 10 and left that nice message." And see, these are the little things that make you different and create that credibility that you believe they're special. And that's the reason that we do these little things that make you special.
I love it. I love it. So I got to hear more stories. I mean, the ice cream thing, that was epic. So I know everyone's listening in going, how can we incorporate frozen products into our gratitude strategy? That's
so, yeah, I did a lot of things. I handed out 500 pumpkins for Halloween. I mean, I went and got a big truck and drove out to Ventura, California, where the pumpkin patches are. And I put these 500 pumpkins in the back of the truck and had a couple young guys that were friends of my son's help me drive down the street to 500 homes and put a pumpkin in the front of their yard or front porch. And we put a little note on it. You know, as you carve up this pumpkin, think of me, because I hope to be your real estate agent in the future. And it was little things like that that made us special. And again, it's a little form of appreciation. And in that neighborhood, after doing that a few times, I pretty much control the listing inventory because of this one little thing that I did that was so special and appreciated by the folks who didn't have to go to the market, get a pumpkin for their kids. It was right in their front porch. And so I just used to do things like this that make you special and stand out from your competitors, which I think is our goal in selling, to have them think of you when they think of your product, be it a vehicle, be it a home, be it a computer, whatever the product is, you've got to rise above your competition in the eyes of your clients in appreciation ways.
Yeah, there's just really quick, Daryl, but there's, as I'm listening, we were saying this is golden stuff. There's two words that I just keep flashing in my head, guys, all the time. It's consistency and discipline. We must have the consistency and discipline to set up a cadence of thank yous. We must be consistent and disciplined to have the cadence around that, because if we don't, it goes back to y'all have choices. There's always choices.
And you know, Larry, you hit on a very important point. When I first kind of became in training, I thought the real key to teaching someone was to teach them how to develop more desire. They had to burn with desire. And so that was the D word in the beginning. Then I realized after doing training a lot of salespeople that the D word desire was not as important as the D word discipline. Because you can desire a lot, but if you don't have the daily disciplines of punctuality, following up, being appreciative, finding creative ways to make your client think of you, if you don't do that, you probably won't build that desired successful life in sales and marketing.
Yeah, I love that with you, but you got to share some more stories.
Yeah,
you got to lay some of the top 5 Tom Hopkins thank you stories.
Well, what I used to do too, I really believe that prospecting, as you mentioned, which is number one of the 7 fundamentals of selling any product or service, is getting out and talking to more people. And this is something that a lot of folks in the field of sales and marketing really don't want to do. They'd rather either hide behind the computer, try to electronically build their business. But I still think I'm one of these go back to basics fundamental guys who believes that if you get out in your area, your territory, where your office is, and you meet more people, and then of course you follow up with a thank you note for them even talking with you at the door. I also, many times I'd talk to someone at the door who all of a sudden became very nice, very pleasant. Thank you for coming by. We're not interested in selling our home now, but it's nice of you to keep in touch, blah, 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 blah. Well, when they were that type of person, I had with me handwritten thank you notes, and I would have, of course, put their name on it, and walking out past their box, I would put it in just leaving their home. So the next morning, when they went and got the mail, there's my thank you note. And these are those little tiny things, nuances that I tried to do that, again, I think not only allowed me to sell probably more homes than anyone ever sold, but also gave me a chance to build a referral base where after maybe 3 years, I'm trying to remember, I never had time or could prospect because I had built such a client base. So I guess what I'm saying is, all you folks wanting to be successful in selling, you got to prospect your way out of ever having to prospect. And that's something I want you to think about.
Now that's a moment right there. But here's what's interesting, Daryl. And I was just looking through the chat while Tom was talking, and I think this is a brilliant question. If it's okay, I just want to hit this one head on really quick from Charlene. She said, when your customers aren't local, what are some other creative ideas you can do to show your clients they're appreciated?
Well, I think one thing you can do is, instead of sending a note, you can send a telegram, which no one does either, but they're still available. And to be just, send a telegram saying, I had a moment and thought a telegram would be a new and different little way today to say thanks for being a valued client. So there again, you're coming across different. You're doing something no one else is doing. But I was that's why they called me the follow-up fanatic, because I just literally, if I had a lead, a client, I would keep in touch, follow up till they buy or die, which I guess is also a concept that you have to build a business.
Buy or die. I absolutely love that. Hey, Tom, what I'm realizing is we're talking here today is sales is tough, right? I mean, there's no question that sales has its moments that are really, really challenging. And with all the rejection, that builds up a lot of frustration. But gratitude, I'm just listening to these stories and it makes me smile and just thinking, we get rejected all day long in some ways, but we have the opportunity to build positive moments into our day as we say gratitude to replenish ourselves.
Oh, definitely. And the folks that are in sales have to realize that the rejection, which we'll call no's, are the 2-letter word no is hiding all the yeses. And you'll never get to the yeses unless you have the discipline and the guts, excuse the expression, to get out there and put your ego on the line to where you possibly can be rejected. But you can't take the no's personally. You have to almost say, if I'm going to get all my yeses, I'm going to cope with the no's, and I'm going to turn the no's into yeses. And this, of course, is difficult for some people to handle. But luckily, again, you have better ways today, technology-wise, of keeping in touch, following up. You have access to more technology than we ever had back in the day when I was in real estate full time. But the follow-up and the keeping in touch, and I think, again, the out-of-state people, the telegram idea is something I would consider. And of course, I also feel that when you have someone that's out of, and you've got to become a fanatic on details with your clients, meaning I would send out, back then, I would send out a little form. And I would literally say to the client, once I got involved, I'd send a thank you note. And then I would say, one of my goals is to keep in touch and follow up with your real estate needs. And the best way I can do that is to get as much information as possible. So, what I'd love for you folks to do is just fill out this form. I've got an enclosed envelope, which back then we gave envelopes. And if you'll just send it back to me, and I would have their names, of course, their husband and wife, but then I would want their anniversary date of their wedding. That was something that no one else took advantage of. Then I would have all their children. I would then get the children's ages and their birth dates. Because what I did was I would send birthday cards to the children on their 2 or 3 days before the birthday. And here again, this, the little 8-year-old would look in the mail. Are they bringing the mail? And, the father would say, well, Billy, I don't know what this is, but you've got a letter here. And Billy would open it up. And of course, there would be a little birthday card from Tom Hopkins wishing him a beautiful, wonderful day. And again, investment was so small, but it was something no one else did. And people are going to keep hearing this and hearing this if they listen to my message, that be special, be different, be more appreciative, and make people not only like and trust you, but have this good feeling that you are not only a part of their team, but that you're going to do business with them not once, but for a lifetime.
There's this, we always lean, we live in this world today where we lean on technology so much that sometimes we hide behind technology. And I'm not here. Technology is wonderful, right? It's just transformed and revolutionized how we do things. But I want everyone to key in on what where he's really going with this, because he said it over and over. It's back to the basics. Some of this stuff, you might be scratching your head going, man, that is so simple, right? Or some of you might be going, what the hell's a telegram, right? but in all sincerity, if you want to create differentiation, that was pretty funny. If you want to create differentiation, though, in a world that's just overloaded with technology, all these things that Tom's sharing is basic stuff. It's so basic, but it works. But I just want to layer in one thing, is when I started hearing with the birthdays, and keying in on birthdays, it's why I'm a firm believer today, business is personal. And the more personal you make it, the better off you'll be.
So true. Boy, you nailed it. You really nailed it. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, what else should we share?
Yeah, well, Tom, I'm curious, as thinking about technology, and there's some people hiding behind keyboards. There's other people that are putting video cameras in front of their faces now, and and using that to say thank you. If you were giving advice to a rep today with the technology, and you were starting out in sales today with all of this technology, I'm curious, what would you do? I'm sure there would be ice cream involved. So what else could you do with the technology today to say thank you?
Well, first of all, if I were in sales today, I would definitely take advantage of the technology. You folks have such access to keeping in touch, to doing better numbers, for not having to get out too much in the field like we used to have to do. But I think that I would take advantage of it. But I also would try to find experts in the technology field to learn from, because I think there's different ways of using high technology, and there's some specialists that can teach you. There's seminars that are fabulous on it, but I think that's what I would do. I would find some experts and pick their brains and let them get me involved in the best way to handle all the technology that's available today.
Yeah, I think that's good. And, I think sometimes as salespeople, we think, well, we can just turn on a piece of technology without training and without practice. Well, that technology of the phone that we use certainly required training and practice, right? And
It sure
I think right. And for those who are obviously wanting to start using telegrams, that's probably going to require some training and practice as
Yes,
well.
and some research.
And some research. This is good, and I love the looking for ways to differentiate. And I'm curious, after somebody bought a home from you back in the day, what were some ways after the purchase that you would say thank you to that new home buyer?
Well, I had a program. If you bought a home from me, and let's face it, you earn a pretty nice commission if you close a transaction in real estate. Well, I used to always go and invest in a doormat for their front of their door with their name on it. And of course, I again always had fun with this. Like so the day they're moving in, I show up, and often there's little things I used to do. Um, let's say they're moving in on a Sunday evening. Well, I knew that the wife was going to be busy as can be, just getting organized. So I would pick up dinner, usually just Kentucky Fried Chicken back then, and some, the mixes and stuff. And I'd just run by and say, "Hey, Mary, I know you're busy tonight, but I thought I'd swing by and get you dinner so you wouldn't have to do that." And boy, you'd be amazed how some little thing like that, as an appreciation idea, was so well received. And of course, I used to also give uh, door knockers to people that bought homes where their name was on it and they had a door knocker. All these things were done as ways of, again, keeping in touch and following up to where they thought of you. And gosh, as I mentioned, after my third year, I didn't ever have to make a phone call to find business or even go out and canvas, because I had built all these follow-up things where my 600 clients that were like friends. And that's another thing I did. Every year I would have a wonderful party, and I would rent a large hall that would hold 400 or 500 folks, and I'd get a band, and I would literally invite all my clients to come for a wonderful 2 or 3 hour evening. And of course, it was an investment. Luckily, every dime you spend on something like this is tax deductible, and hopefully, if you start making a lot of money, you need the deduction. So it's a home run for you, home run for all of them to come to a nice dance, all and meet some other folks. And but these are the type of things that think stands you apart from the other folks in your industry. And I hope the folks that are joining us will say, "What the heck? I'm going to start trying this." Keep in touch, follow up, and give more than people expect. And I think if you always
Ugh.
give more than they expect, they're going to beat a path to your door forever, hopefully.
So good, so good. Hey Daryl, there's a great question because it's from our friend George Henderson, and he asked, "Can you share, Tom, 2 or 3 things you did for one of your most memorable wins?"
Well, I've pretty much given you a couple of them. I would say the gift of the doormat was something that was always well received, and it was special. No one else in real estate did it. Um, but I would say one of the biggest wins I think I ever had is I went and I found I had a young couple that were looking for a home. Well, I started showing them properties, and I showed them a property that was owned by an older couple. And sure enough, the young couple had a smaller home, the older couple had a larger home. And I ended up having them trade homes. So here I not only made the sale to the young couple of the older people's home, but the older people bought the younger people's home. So I had listing and selling on both ends of a transaction. Again, those are the type of things that are the things you just never forget.
Oh, I love it. I love it. any other questions for Tom, put them in the comments of YouTube and we'll get to as many as we can. But Tom, I just want to put a highlighter on it. So many reps we all want referrals. Everyone wants the referral. And, what I feel so challenged about right now is what are you doing to get the referrals? Are you investing in your clients? Are you even just simply saying thank you once, let alone just staying in touch and finding these creative ways to be memorable? The experience that you create as a sales rep for your clients, you can't control a lot in the world, but you can control that.
Well, and let me give the folks viewing us an idea. I'd love you to go to your manager. Now, most of the people in sales have a manager in the office or an owner of the company, whoever is the top person. And go to the top person and ask them to ask you to make sure that you do certain things. And of course, this is what I used to do. I would say I just met you, Daryl, and you're the first time we've met. I would say something like this, Daryl, the manager of our company, has kind of said to all of us that we have to strive to do such a good job for our clients that they will be willing at the end of any transaction to let us ask for other people we might serve. So I wanted to let you know that right in the beginning. Now, what I just did nicely was I prepared them and set them up. And it wasn't doing it at the end. It was in the beginning, letting them know. And then if I made a transaction, I would say, John and Mary, do you remember back 2 weeks ago when we got started on this opportunity that I had told you my managers asked if I could ask folks who got involved in our opportunity if any other people we might serve, friends, relatives. And it was amazing how, if I did a good job in the presentation and the service, how I could prepare them in the beginning, what the manager asked us to do, and then I would be able to, at the closing of the transaction, whatever it was, let them know that now was the time for me to see if they had 2 or 3 friends. And it's amazing when they like and trust you and you've done a good job, they'll come up with people. But don't forget, you'll get nothing in life unless you ask. So you have to keep coming up with creative ways to ask, but do it in such a way where they're feeling that you're not being pushy or obnoxious. You're just helping build your business to serve more people properly.
I love it. Speaking of being creative, Tracy Fisher has written in and said, Tom, you got to tell us how you used to sell houses next to loud railroad tracks.
I saw that.
How did you pull that one off, Tom?
Oh, well, Tracy, you must have been in my training or had my EDs, whatever. But no, there was one street that the builder of the homes, I think personally, got greedy because they built these darn homes right up to the railroad track. And of course, this railroad, the train would come by 3 times a day. And it was loud. The house could even shake. And what I used to do is if there was one of those homes available, I, of course, felt that they had reduced it a little bit because of that. And I would take people over there knowing when the train would come. I mean, in other words, I'd walk in and say, now, this home, as you see, backs up to the train. And what they have done is not only a pretty darn good value, but I thought if you were going to look at the property, let's see how the train sounds. And it was amazing how we'd stand there and sure enough, the train would come and they would feel the shaking a little bit and they'd hear it. But then, of course, I'd say now, of course, based on the properties that are comparable in the multiple listing service, this home is about X percentage less. So do you think for that amount you might get used to it? Because most people do. I've had friends of mine that live right up next to the track and say, you know what, after a while, it's just part of our life. It's not a big thing. So in a way, you're saving money by getting next to the track. So do you think we ought to consider it? Makes sense, doesn't it?
You wouldn't
Tom,
want to
I could
consider a house without
no,
a train track behind
no,
it.
but
would you?
here, hey, Derek, I could, Tom, I love you, man. I could hear stories from you all the time. I'm so glad our paths crossed. But as I'm listening to that story as we wrap up, I said, you know what? Here's the best thank you that you can give somebody who's ever bought a house by a railroad tracks. Give them a train set, right?
Now that's cute, Larry. I'm going to add that to my repertoire. That is
Hey, I won't even charge you for that, Hopkins.
yeah. Well, all of you that are, viewing and following Daryl and Larry, I just think it's so important that you take advantage of what they teach and who they bring to the program, and follow up with what they're teaching, because I'll guarantee you can hear it, but if you don't internalize it and make it yours and start applying it, you won't enjoy the magnificent benefits that I think Daryl and Larry have lived their lives trying to provide to people that are taking advantage of what they do. So Larry, Daryl, it was super. And all of you, thank you for letting me be a little part of your life. All the best. And by
Tom,
the way, a quick note, and I've got to make a little sale here. I'd be bad not to do what I'm supposed to do. Anyway, anyone that's interested, Amazon has taken all of my products because I'm winding kind of down my career. And everything we have is books and CDs. Everything has been really slashed and discounted with Amazon. So if anyone's interested in more of me, go to Amazon and ask for Tom Hopkins training, and they'll send it to you and let you pick what you might like. So I had to get my little transaction in there, and I hope that was all right.
Oh, absolutely.
No,
we'll be sharing all of those in the private LinkedIn group as well. We want to make those accessible. And Tom, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, and Larry as well, we just appreciate the way you've contributed to our careers and the way you've invested in us today. It just means a ton.
Yeah, no, I personally want to say thank you, Tom. You've been a part of my whole entire sales career. So I personally want to say thank you.
Okay, well, all the best. Let's have a great rest of the year and a better forever.
Awesome.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Oh,
wow,
Daryl!
Incredible time. That was the stories. And here's what I love about this, Larry. Gratitude is. I learned so many different things today, but one of the light bulb moments is that gratitude is not only the right thing to do. It not only brings joy into a day where you can be very frustrated, but it is maybe the key for differentiation in a crowded marketplace. Like, who's saying thank you anymore?
It's sad, but it's true, Daryl. And it's interesting. I was in this conversation just last week with a group of people, and I said, I even break out my smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers, I just saw flash up there, nevertheless. But I will just randomly just text people, hey, I was thinking about you. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for our friendship. It's the little things
that friends do.
That's what friends do. But it was interesting because one of the responses back I got one time was, what was that about? Are you okay? You need something? But I just want to let everyone know in sales is we must, Tom talked about discipline, is we must have the discipline to do this in the world that we live in today, where there's so many choices out there and competition's as fierce as it's ever been. Let's just think about doubling down on the little things, the thank yous, the appreciation, the gratitude. Don't just do it when you make a sale. Don't just do it around a holiday or a special event. Consistently do it and watch what starts to happen.
All right. So this is a challenge. This is not just sit back and take notes and, go on with your day. This is a challenge, and we're salespeople. We're competitive. So we're challenging each other to say thank you. So Larry, I want to throw down the gauntlet on day one. And Tom set the bar really high. There was ice cream, pumpkins, telegrams. There were so
doormats.
Doormats. There were all kinds of great creative examples. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to either do one of two things. I want you to think of the most creative way you've ever said thank you, or I want you to think of the most creative way you could say thank you and actually do it. And I want you to put a video of that in the LinkedIn group. We're going to pick, as we said, we're going to pick the best video every day, the best response to the challenge. And at the end of the week, we're all going to vote, kind of like America's Funniest Home Videos. This is going to be America, the world. We got people all over the world. I see Joe Jacoby in the house, the world champion for challenges. We're going to vote on that on Friday. So the most creative thing you've ever done to say thank you, or the most creative idea that you're going to do to say thank you, just put a video out there. And by the way, if you want help with a video, just a huge shout out to our friends at BombBomb. They are cheering us on, and they are actually providing free access to their platform for new users for 14 days. No credit card required. Just go try it. BombBomb.com/heart. You can put your phone up in front of your face. You can record that video, and it's a great way to say thank you. So go check that out. BombBomb.com/heart. So, Larry, the most creative way. This is going to be fun listening to these stories. I'm so excited. We're off to a great start.
No, this has been phenomenal. And when just before we tee up who's coming on tomorrow, I just, thank yous and gratitude and appreciation. To me, those are the keys that unlock the relationship doors. Those are the things that strengthen the relationships. But to tee it all up tomorrow, we're in for a treat. Lee Sauls, Daryl, he's a kindred spirit, the author of Sales Differentiation. He is going to talk to us about ways to really stand out and be different around appreciation, gratitude, and the client experience.
Yeah, Lee Sauls is fantastic. If you have not met Lee, if you've read his book, Sales Differentiation, you'll know how awesome tomorrow is going to be. If you haven't met Lee, come back tomorrow, same time. You'll get the link. It's on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that. You'll also get it in the LinkedIn group. So join that LinkedIn group as well. Follow up. There'll be an email reminder. You can get text reminders. Just text the word challenge to 21,000. All of that. Just make sure you show up back here at 12 p.m. tomorrow. That's on the East Coast, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Take the challenge. And Larry, I'm fired up. We're going to see you again tomorrow.
We'll see you then.
Thank you for being a part of the 2021 Client Appreciation Challenge. Now it's time to take action. We challenge you to take what you learned today to show appreciation to your clients. As you do, let's cheer each other on. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.
Wow, Larry, what an incredible conversation with Tom. Just pure gold, pure dynamite, pure undiluted inspiration.
No, and what's priceless about this is it's simple stuff, Daryl. It is simple appreciation stuff. It's the simple thank yous and just saying, thank you. I care about you. This is what you mean to me. The best thing it was, we can all do it. We all have the capability of doing this.
Well, and as we do at the end of every podcast episode, we want to challenge you to take action. And today specifically, what is one thing that you learned from Tom that you could integrate into your sales process right now to show appreciation to your clients and do it in a creative and meaningful way?
Yeah, there's 6 months left of this year. Imagine what that would look like if, you took your client base and you just went, I'm going to take what Daryl said and just layer one more thing into this. And you went high, medium, and low inside your company. You went high, wide, and deep. And you just layered in one thing that you learned from Tom in the Client Appreciation Challenge. And you did that every single day for Q3 to set yourself up for an amazing Q4.
I think that's a fantastic idea. So everybody, just on behalf of me and Larry, we just want to say thank you. 2021 has been a fun year. We're halfway through. Let's keep it going strong. We hope you have a super holiday weekend. A huge shout out and thank you to our friends at BombBomb. As we said at the beginning of the podcast, if you want to look at the rest of the recordings from the Client Appreciation Challenge, whether you attended live or whether you're just finding out, go to www.clientappreciationchallenge.com. com, and there you can get access to Tom Hopkins as well as a roster of incredibly encouraging speakers. So with all of that, have a super holiday, and until next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep adding real value, get creative in showing appreciation to your clients, and most of all, sell from the heart.